All right, guys, it's Vena here on Friday, October the 3rd. And let's get this party started right. There's a lady, cute woman, that comments on my social media and she watches all my videos. And she said she loves when I say, let's get this party started right because at her age, that's the only partying she's doing. So for her and everybody else, let's get this spiritual party started. And we literally do have like spiritual parties, right? Because where else can you go? You damn sure can't do it at a club or at a bar, or I don't even go to those anymore. But it's hard to kind of talk that kind of talk in those environments, right? So we're partying, we're doing our little groove thing, So to my dear octogenarian friend, we are partying, okay? All right. Okay. So, I just want to also mention before I kind of get into the meat of things, I was given another date. Every time they give me a date, something significant that they want noted, meaning spirit, the spiritual world, people, our brothers and sisters on the other side. Um, it's some significance to the dates that they give. So they gave me October 4th and they gave me October the 11th. Okay. And they gave these to me a couple days ago. Actually, right after I did my other video, my just the previous video. So um, I'm going to mark them down on here also. And October the 4th and 11th. Okay, so uh, let's see where to begin because this was like kind of a interesting, full, packed week. Still a lot going on. Uh, MAGA world is blowing their minds over Bad Bunny, but don't you love how the NFL is kind of remaining firm on that? It's entertainment, and they're losing their minds. And I just think it's just such a good. Um, I don't. I couldn't name one song that he sings. I don't listen to him. I've heard a little bit about him, but I'm all for it. I'm all for it. And it's the same way I've felt about every Super Bowl halftime performance, right? There's going to be some that hate him, hate those performances, some that love him. Um, no one can please everyone. So if I don't like it, I usually just get up and do stuff I got to do, take care of business until the game comes back on. If I like it, I'm just going to watch it. But I mean, this is definitely divine love inserting itself into such a wide platform, okay? And I just think it's a great thing. It's a good thing. And he's all for trans rights, which is even better as far as I'm concerned, because you pesky trans are responsible for everything, right? Right? Ugh. Whew. But anyway, so that should be fun. I'm looking forward to it. Um, and it will be nice. I also believe for the Puerto Rican community to see themselves in such a visible way. I just love that. I really do. I just love it. So, um, okay. I told you guys a while ago that the Supreme Court would start making rulings that were surprising. right? And I'm sure some of you remember that. I said they're not going to just follow everything that this administration does. A lot of times they are going to, but then they're going to come out of the blue against some of the deranged ones' wishes. And so they did that with the firing of Lisa Cook, the Fed governor, right? And because she refused to leave, she's like, "There's no basis for you to fire me. Um, you're just doing it out of spite." And so she refused to leave. Of course, they tried to get an emergency ruling, and the Supreme Court was like, "No, no, we're not doing that. We're not touching that." So this will just have to play out. But in the meantime, it's definitely a good win. No matter how you look at it, it's a good win. Let's talk about that military briefing. So I did not watch it. I watched a good portion of it afterwards. After it happened, I refuse to give this administration any of my airtime. Okay, or ratings. But I did watch it afterwards, and what I got during that was not only did he piss most of those military leaders off, okay, but how can I say, he he strengthened their resolve. They are going to be our friends at some point, big time. That speech was so meant to happen. The Hexeth and the Don the Khan speech was truly meant to happen, and I got that. I understand it, and the reason is because it repulsed 98% of those generals. As a matter of fact, I was given that there were only two in that entire audience that approved of what he said. Now, to confirm that, we've already had two generals resign. Okay, one most notably is um, General Thomas Basur, and there's another one. I thought I wrote his name down. Fenton, I believe. But anyway, they handed in their resignations. Um, a lot of them are going to stay, but they are going to be the enemy of our enemy. Okay, so to speak. They that speech not only repulsed them and strengthened their resolve, and but also it turned off a large portion of people. Okay, which is, we can all see that's the direction that the divine love is taking this country, right? It's literally happening brick by brick, but it's happening. And what happens when you keep taking bricks away from a structure? Eventually, the structure collapses. Okay? And that was actually a couple of bricks. There are reports already of people not turning in their reenlistment papers that should be. Um, so that whole fiasco was actually a good thing. Um, and there's basically nothing this administration will be able to do to win their loyalty back. Okay? And if you look at the pictures of these generals and military leaders sitting there, you know exactly what I mean. And by the way, was Hexeth blind when he was talking about women? and disparaging them because there were several women in that audience. Um, I'm sure he made friends with them. Hmm. Anyway, okay. Let's see. Jane Goodall, the primatologist, right? She is the reason that we know so much about primates. She passed. She was 91 years old. I've followed her different works for years. The woman was amazing. She definitely has a special understanding and relationship to these creatures, and she's done a lot of good. So, this is just like a little small tribute to her and to thank her for her wonderful work. Um, she's pretty amazing. She was pretty amazing. Um, let's see. People asked if I believe that Mike Johnson's Grinder file info will be released. I do see it being released. I don't see it being released by a person. I see it being released more on the media side. I saw it coming out that way. Um, but it will be released. Okay? And so that I don't forget, because I probably would, because I'm not into baseball at all. Several people have asked me, who do I see winning uh, the baseball, the championship? I don't follow baseball at all. At all. I do happen to know um, that the Phillies, my hometown team, I believe they are in the playoffs, right? Here's the thing. Unfortunately, they have a red hat. I saw a blue hat. When I asked, I saw a blue hat, and to the side, I saw a red hat. But I see a blue hat prominent. A pretty color blue, too. I don't know who the blue team is, who has the blue hats, but it's a pretty dark royal type blue. So I was trying to see if I had anything to show you guys. But anyway, so yeah, that's what I got. So who knows? Let's see what happens with that. Okay. Um, I talked to you guys about the Philippines. Unfortunately, they're still getting hit, and it's troubling to me because I know someone that whose family is there, and they got hit already with that 7.0 earthquake, and then the typhoon came, and just this week again they were hit with another 7.0 earthquake, and unfortunately, I just don't see it quite ending for them yet. I think there's going to be a large amount of destruction in certain parts of the Philippines before things kind of stop for them. So, but I do see things coming to like an end for that type of destruction. Okay, let's see. AI Atlas. I've talked about it before, and you guys still keep asking about it. So, another thing that came through about this mysterious object is I see it being extremely on a mechanical, very mechanized, and on a level that we can't even comprehend. And it's mainly mechanized, meaning um, that's what it is. It does have inhabitants, but I see it mainly being like a super duper type of computer type of thing. And it does some extremely important work in like collecting data, um, for navigation and that type of thing. And um, something else I want you guys to think about, the fact that NASA and several prominent scientists from around the world are being extremely open about this structure, this object, this UFO, this ET, um, tells you that it's more than they can comprehend, and it's definitely real. And but it does not have nefarious intentions. Okay, I said that before, and this is just a repeat. Does not have nefarious intentions, just the opposite. And it is going to sort of change the way how we look at not only others, but our space brothers and sisters. It's going to totally change that. Okay? And a lot of information will be available from it. And it does make us stop here. It does. It makes us stop here. But not, it cannot physically get very close. And remember, I told you guys in my UFO portion of my video, I think it was 2 videos ago, or and even in my very last video about my near death experience, how these motherships cannot get too close to Earth. Okay, this thing is beyond, like it's online with a mothership and more. It's it's something we almost can't even fathom. Okay, but it cannot come close. Now it could send ships, scout ships, whatever, onto Earth, absolutely, and it will. However, it itself cannot come that close, but it will be close enough for us to observe it. Okay, so that's kind of what I have to say about that. I wanted to also say that uh, there's a lot of creators saying that YouTube and TikTok are truly suppressing them, and I myself am feeling that too. The videos, the viewers are just, and then I've had a couple people say, "Oh my gosh, my notification it never showed up." So I'm gonna, like I do, I'm just gonna leave that in love's hands. Let love figure that out for me, and it will work it out, um, and that's okay. And maybe at this particular point in time, it may be a good thing that it's not getting a large number of views like it usually does. And that goes not only for me, but for other content creators. Okay, so, you know, who knows? Behind the scenes, it could be a good thing, you know? The flotilla. What do I see on that? There was actually a report yesterday, I believe, that Israel had captured all of those ships. But for some reason, okay, and I'm going against the media and what's being reported, I understand that. But I still see a ship getting through. I see a ship not only getting through, but it has supplies and it's going to deliver them. I don't know how this is going to happen, but I just see it like I see it there landing on their beaches. I just see it there. So you know, let's look out for that because, and maybe it will come after um, all these other ships have been captured, and I don't see any real harm coming to those people that Israel has basically abducted. I don't see harm coming to them, and I do see them eventually being freed. But it's like um, Israel is sort of pissed, but there's enough pressure on them that they're going to release these people. Okay. Um, and, one of the things that we have to appreciate is the fact that this is now garnered not only international attention, but there are folks in other countries that are fighting their own government because of their frustration with what's going on with GAZA. Okay? Case in point, Italy. Italy had mobs, protesters, etc., acting out, trying to let them know, this is unacceptable. But it's just around the world, and it's just a beautiful thing. Okay? And I've told you guys before, this is now the age. Pluto is now an Aquarius. Pluto is that generational planet. Aquarius is community, humanity. And the longer it stays in Aquarius, the more we're going to see these themes coming up and taking front and center. Okay, so it's a beautiful thing. This act of compassion is being woken in so many people. And you see, this is another way how divine love works, okay? This is something that's been going on that is now, it is obviously time for this to end, okay? And yes, there's been horrific violence. Yes, there's been some horrific actions taken. But the world now cannot turn a blind eye as it always has. The world is waking up. You've got people by the hundreds of thousands protesting everywhere. Okay, so this is the beauty of it that is coming out. It can't be ignored anymore. Okay, and I still hold firm to what I saw regarding Neti Pot, in that um, the circle of violence, it always returns back, doesn't it? The circle. And Neti Pot has initiated a lot of that. So, um, yeah. But I just love that this is no longer a quiet hush hush issue. Um, the world is no longer standing for it. And this is in literally dozens of countries that are like, uh. And if you aren't aware of that, it just, it'd be a good thing to just kind of look into it. An easy Google search, you can find protests for pro Palestine, um, you know, that type of thing. So, and eventually it will get to the point where, because now it's like everything is pro I, right? Our government even has laws that you can't even speak out publicly against I, right? That eventually will be changed. Okay, the I country will no longer have that prominence anymore. They will no longer have the upper hand, and that's coming. That is coming. So divine love sometimes moves slowly, sometimes it moves quickly, but it's always moving and always in action. Okay? So, all right. Let's see. Someone asked me, did I see loved ones in my NDE? Well, they obviously didn't read my book because I talk about that in my book. I did not see any of my loved ones. I was peripherally aware of them, meaning I was aware of loved ones at some point, but I wasn't focused on them. Okay. And here's another interesting fact um, that I'd like to add. I was aware of loved ones that were not on Earth, but that I have dealt with time and time again, but that weren't necessarily on Earth. We have a very large soul family. Um, to those that come from a very small family here, maybe you're an only child or whatever, you'd be surprised at the real relatives you have that reside on the other side or are not in our present incarnation with us, but are still part of our soul family. It's a beautiful, amazing thing. A lot of those do incarnate with us, and a lot of them we'll know because we feel that, yeah, we've done this before thing. We've been together before. I'm sick of you, you're sick of me, but I still love you. Or they're like old hat to us. Um, but yeah, so uh, no, I did not interact with any of uh, my family, or either Earth or Soul family, because that basically wasn't the type of focus for that near death experience I had. However, like I said, I became aware that I was part of an extended family. Okay. And I, there's only me and I have a sibling, okay, a sister. And that's it. It's just us two. But knowing that I had so many spiritual relatives, it was like I just, if it makes me feel like I've got family. Okay, like I've got family. And I do have a large my mother has let's see, there's 7 girls and 3 boys, okay, and they each probably have children. Most of them do, so that's, we have a pretty large family that way. um, but knowing all of these souls that I am connected to, right, um, was so strengthening and so fulfilling to me. And it's just magnificent how connected we are to so many different spirits, so many different souls that not don't reside here, okay, but are part of our experience, our existence, okay, and they do look in on us, and they do see like how we're progressing, and they do kind of tap in with our guides occasionally and maybe help us in some ways, or They may connect us with others that we may need to be connected with. They do those type of things, as we will do those type of things with those we love when we are on the other side. We'll dip in and see what's going on, and you know, fleet through their energy field, and they'll get a feeling of us, and oh wow, okay, just get a good feeling. So yeah, no, even though I didn't interact with any during my NDE, I kind of gained such a wonderful understanding of our spiritual relatives and family. Okay. Um, so here's another question that someone asked. They asked about that fleeting moment of joy that we sometimes feel, right? And it just comes and it's out the blue, and it's like it's that sublime, complete happiness, right? And you may have, three or four in your entire life. I myself have had a few, and they're just wonderful feelings, you know, and I understand exactly what they are. I've seen exactly what they are, and they come from for different reasons. Okay, sometimes they come because our spirit interacts directly with our soul. They come together. They have sort of like a meeting of the mind that can produce that sublime, beautiful feeling. Okay, sometimes it's us, our guide will infuse us with that type of energy. It just will overload us with it. And a lot of times that's sort of just to keep us going. That can happen, just to keep us encouraged, whatever. Um, Other times it could be those relatives coming into our energy, our spiritual self, just kind of merging with us for a moment and departing. Okay, but there's those type of reasons for that happiness, that wonderful, sublime feeling that just comes out of nowhere. Okay, and I remember my aunt. Um, she had one, and she said, Vina, she said, I just had one of those moments where I was so happy. And she said, I was so like nothing bothered me. And she said, and I know I had it because I just felt that some rough times are coming up. And that's sort of to keep me, on a positive footing. And sure enough, she did experience some difficult times and sort of is still. But she remains kind of upbeat. And she's not really being affected by those rough times. So, yeah, those moments, they can inspire us, they can infuse us with that love that's always present, but we don't always feel, right? But it's always there. Okay, and speaking of that, I want to kind of just end this on the fact and a reminder, right? No matter what you're going through, whether it's physical, emotional, mental, a situation in your life, there is literally nothing that you cannot take to the altar of divine love. And when I say altar, I don't mean a physical altar, okay? I don't mean that at all. I mean that sublime, perfect space of knowing, of knowingness that love is there, it's functioning, and it is perfection. And if you can touch that with your mind, if you can touch that with your heart, okay, somehow it will help you through the situation, help you through the issue. Maybe not in the outcome that you want, but it will put its divine love touches on it. You can always acknowledge the existence and the energy of divine love through any situation. And yes, even a physical one. Because in doing that, sometimes you'll understand why you're going through a physical situation. Or a regular situation between loved ones or those who aren't even loved ones. But there is always an understanding to be gained by acknowledging divine love constantly throughout your day somehow. No kind of rituals involved, no kind of special anything involved. Okay, if you don't want to, you can if you want, sure. But if you don't want to, you don't have to. Just the acknowledgement of it, the recognition of it, weaving it throughout your day to day life in some kind of way. And remember what I've told you. When you first start to do that, just like a little crack in the door, but eventually the door opens wider and wider and wider, and you start to see it in more ways, bigger ways. So I know you all hear the neighbors' dogs. They do this morning and night. Okay. Fortunately, I don't. I kind of block them out now, and their owner is pretty. He's pretty conscientious, so he doesn't often bring them out. Thank goodness. But they're just little yappers. They're the cutest little dogs, but they're yappers. But anyway, the weaving of the understanding, the knowing of divine love is truly where we want to be. Because remember, our purpose here, yes, it's to live and it's to live out things that we came here to do. But our true purpose is the spiritual expression of what we remember and using it however we remember it and whatever we remember. Always remember divine love is at your beck and call. Literally at your beck and call. Okay? So, anyway, this is not a long one today. But take care, everyone. And thanks for tuning in. And I will see you soon.